If you've already got one or more files open in the document window, the most common way to create a new file is to use the New Document dialog box. You open it by going to the File menu and selecting New. There's also a keyboard shortcut, Control-N on Windows, Command-N on a Mac. And it opens this large dialog box which has got a lot of options. It seems fairly complicated, but the options are all fairly straightforward. This column on the left gives you the option of blank page, fluid grid layout, starter templates and site templates. Let's start with blank page, which is probably the most important. You can choose different types of page. HTML, that's the most important, that's for creating web pages. CSS is for style sheets, and the other important one here is JavaScript, which adds dynamic interactivity to web pages. Less Sass and SCSS are for working with CSS preprocessors. Dreamweaver doesn't support CSS preprocessors, but it does recognize the file type. PHP is for building dynamic pages using the server-side technology PHP. XML pages are used for storing data in a structured format, and SVG is for scalable vector graphics. PHP, XML and SVG are all beyond the scope of this course. They're advanced subjects. Finally, in this list you've got the options for HTML template, library item and PHP template. Although this allows you to build templates and library items from scratch, you normally build them from existing pages. With HTML selected, you also get these options in the layout column. None means no layout, in other words it's a completely blank page, and then there are two predefined layouts. One is 2-column fixed with a sidebar on the right, a header and a footer, and the other one is 3-column fixed with a header and footer and sidebars on both sides. But when creating a blank page you should select None. On the right down here you've got the option to change the doc type. By default in Dreamweaver CC it's HTML5, and there should be no reason for you ever to need to change this. You can also automatically attach a CSS file to every document that you create. You select the file by clicking this chain icon, and then if you want to remove it at any stage you select the CSS file in this box down here and click the trash can icon. This can be useful if you want to attach exactly the same style sheet to every page, but that's quite rare, except possibly in the case of a reset style sheet. I find that it's normally more convenient to attach a style sheet to a page using the CSS designer. So those are the blank page options. Let's quickly look at the other options. Fluid grid layout creates a fluid grid layout as it suggests. It's for mobile, tablet and desktop devices. There's a whole chapter in this course devoted to fluid grid layouts, so I'll leave the more detailed description until then. Next we've got starter templates. In the version of Dreamweaver that I'm using there are fluid grid starters and mobile starters. Fluid grid starters, there are 6 options there, and if you click them you get a little bit of a description and an outline of what it might look like on the right hand side. And mobile starters are for working with jQuery Mobile. jQuery Mobile is an HTML, CSS and JavaScript framework used primarily to build applications for mobile devices. It's an advanced subject beyond the scope of this course. And finally there is site templates. The first column lists all the sites that you've defined within Dreamweaver, and you can select each one and it will show you the templates that you've created in each site. If you haven't created any templates then of course nothing will be listed here. But if you have created a template and you select it here, then you'll see a preview of what the page looks like, and this is how you create a child page from a template. So let's go back to blank page. We've got HTML selected, layout set to none. All you need to do is to click create and it gives you a blank HTML page with the HTML skeleton underneath. If we go back to the new document dialog box and select CSS and then click create, you get a blank style sheet with this charset command at the top. And if you do the same for JavaScript, click create, you get a blank JavaScript document. So that's how the new document dialog box works. You open it by going to File, New, or you can use the keyboard shortcut Control-N on Windows, Command-N on a Mac. And finally, if you want a really quick way of creating a new HTML file, all you need to do is to right-click a folder in the Files panel and select New File. It then creates the file called Untitled with the name selected ready for editing, so I could call it maybe New File. But it doesn't actually open it. But creating a new file without opening it like this can be useful if you want to create a dummy page to link to at some stage.